President Trump has now arrived back in Washington. He'll be meeting with Senate Republicans Tuesday.
He just tweeted that this is a big week coming up for tax cuts.
Well, I do believe in prayer, number one, and I hope that we get it done by Christmas.
Conyers announced he was stepping down as the top Democrat on the powerful House Judiciary Committee.
John Conyers is an icon in our country. He will do the right thing.
I'm someone who hugs people. I've learned, so I've crossed the line for some women.
Fox News alert law enforcement across the country on high alert this holiday season as terrorists look to target U.S. trains.
Prince Harry officially off the market after months of speculation. The royal family announcing Harry is engaged to the Suits actress and an American, Megyn Markle.
Roughly 24 players choosing to sit, kneel, or raise a fist during the national anthem on Sunday.
Big show after Thanksgiving. Welcome back to Studio F. Fox
Good morning. It is Cyber Monday. You can do your shopping online today and save a lot of money.
Right. And we're going to have a whole emphasis on that. That's the only way we woke Kurt the Cyber Guy, just for that reason.
That's exactly right. Brian's buying our Christmas gifts during the commercials.
Right. Absolutely. No, I prefer to shop in person. I prefer to feel things.
Well, to get a discount, you can't shop in person today.
You know that's right, because it's cyber. But you know what the most fun store is in any mall? As seen on TV. Because it's almost like seeing a celebrity. It's like, I remember you from the television commercial.
Wait a minute, is that really a store in your mall?
Oh, yeah. You don't have that?
Yeah. We have Bed Bath & Beyond, and that's like basically everything around the register.
Right. And that reminds me of a movie.
Who knew there was a whole store all about My Pillow? Anyway, we got a busy 3 hours. You will see some of the images from our Thanksgiving, and we hope you had a great one as well.
We're developing them right now. We went to Kodak. We went to the drive-thru.
Photomat?
Photomat.
You're still doing that,
Yeah,
huh?
I put in the special water.
You know, this is called a smartphone. It also acts as a camera.
It's a phase. It's a phase.
Yeah.
It's only for smart people, though. It's a smartphone.
Thank you very much for joining us on this Monday. Let's start with a Fox News alert. And get this, a high-ranking official now suing the president, a federal official, over his choice to lead the nation's consumer financial watchdog agency.
She wants to block the White House and let a judge decide who will take over the Consumer Financial Protection Bureau.
All right, Griff Jenkins is live in Washington with the details. He loves lawsuits. Hey, Griff.
Good morning, guys. It's unclear who's getting the top parking spot at the Consumer Financial Protection Bureau this morning. President Trump's pick to run the agency, White House Budget Director Mick Mulvaney, or will it be Obama holdover and current Deputy Director Leandra English? The lawsuit filed by English to block Mulvaney's appointment will determine who is going to step in. This all started when Obama's director, Richard Cordray, resigned Friday, tapping his deputy, English, on the way out the door as President Trump sought to reform an agency that he believes has become too political. But Democrats view it differently. Here's Dick Durbin.
It's a watchdog agency. Wall Street hates it like the devil hates holy water, and they're trying to put an end to it with Mr. Mulvaney stepping into Cordray's spot.
The CFPB is an agency created by Elizabeth Warren before she was a senator and enacted under Dodd-Frank in 2010 in response to the financial collapse. Here's what the legislative director for the White House, Mark Short, has to say about it.
We're not supposed to be creating agencies that are not accountable to the American people, and that's what we've done with CFPB. Mick Mulvaney will do a good job of making sure that it is accountable both to consumers, but also allowing free markets to work so that we're no longer killing jobs in our country.
All right, so English argues that wording in Dodd-Frank supports her claim that she should be the acting director, but the administration argues that the Federal Vacancies Reform Act gives President Trump authority to name Mick Mulvaney as the director. We are hearing reports from Reuters that the general counsel at CFPB is siding with President Trump. We don't have that hard on Fox News, but it is going to play out, and it is indeed a fight between the administration and what many think of as the swamp.
But Griff, here's the whole thing. It's all about the acting. If when the president names somebody, this thing's going to just go up in smoke anyway, right? The president just go ahead and name somebody.
What's going to have to happen is whoever, this is for the acting one, the Senate will have to confirm a permanent director. That may be Mulvaney or someone else. We'll find out from President Trump. It's worth pointing out, by the way, guys, Richard Cordray, the only person that's ever been appointed to this agency, was done in recess appointment by President Obama because he couldn't get it done and confirmed by the Senate back then.
Good point, Griff. Thank you very much. The other thing is, and Griff in his report said that Elizabeth Warren helped create that agency, and then she wanted to run it, but President Obama didn't want her to run it. Wound up
you would think if it's a
guy.
government agency and the president wants to appoint just an interim director, he would have he would trump the agent, the person that just left the position.
Have you set up your things to do list today and for the entire
week? I'm sending a note to Harry. Prince Harry, by the way, got engaged to Megyn.
Sorry, ladies.
Markle.
Wow, this is a big surprise.
It was in the cold open.
Wow, I didn't know.
Are you disappointed? Did you like seeing him like floundering around and reading all the fun stories?
He's the only royal person I really feel that I know. I actually feel like I can relate to him. Yeah.
We have more on that in headlines. But she is an American. He's marrying an American.
Yeah,
right.
An actress.
Americans are cool people. I've met some. Monday is today, and the president will have lunch with the Senate Finance Committee to talk about tax reform. And on Tuesday, the president goes to Capitol Hill to invite himself to the Senate Republican lunch, all to talk about, most of all, tax reform. He is, if you look at his tweets, he's pumped up for the Senate to take this up.
That's because the Republicans need a legislative victory. They haven't had one this year. They need this before Christmas.
So the president, in the last couple of hours, tweeted this out. Back in D.C., big week for tax cuts and many other things of great importance to our country. Senate Republicans will hopefully come through for all of us. The tax cut bill is getting better and better. The big end result will be great for all of us. Here's the thing. So he's going to be meeting with the big four up on Capitol Hill, Nancy and Mitch and the others, and Schumer and Paul. And some others as well, because what they're trying to do, in addition to the tax thing, is there's a showdown over federal funding, because they need the money to run the government. They'll probably do another patch. Essentially, it runs out of money on December the 8th.
Which is about a week from now.
Right. And so what the Democrats are trying to do is they're saying, if you want us to vote on that, you're going to have to attach the Dreamer stuff to it. The Republicans say absolutely not. So it could be logger jams.
Right. They attached the Dreamer thing, and I saw Senator Thune over the weekend said no. But you know who might say yes? The president. Because the president before met with Chuck and Nancy and said, I want to get this done. Let's wait 3 months, knowing that this day would be coming right before Christmas.
I'm not sure the majority of Republicans would be against it. I mean, these are dreamers. These are kids that came over because of their parents. They had nothing to do with it. So just to send them back without having any residency in their countries that their parents came from would be really difficult.
Well, Mark Meadows, who heads up the House Freedom Coalition caucus, said DACA will not be in the government funding bill. The president gave Congress until March to do something, and so if they do it as standalone legislation, that would be fine with him. But then again, if they do it this way, we just know that the House Freedom Caucus completely against it.
And there could be a government shutdown because there aren't enough Republicans that can agree on other things within the budget.
They need to get some Democrats on board, and generally they have, because so many of the Republicans don't want to increase the deficit. So they have to get some Democrats. It's kind of a mess.
And they can't agree on funding for our troops or funding.
Did you see
that
shot at the beginning where people were throwing their helmets at each other from the NFL yesterday?
Yes.
It's kind of like that.
Right, a little bit. And Democrats bail out, and they say, we're not going to bail you out this time, Republicans, if you don't include DACA there. So we'll see what happens when the four sit down. Overwhelmingly, when you ask the American people what they want to see Republicans and Democrats come together on something. This might be a good place to start right before Christmas. Meanwhile, when you talk about Ainsley and Steve, you think Hollywood. And you love talking about actors and actresses, and this is right up your alley.
No, we like talking about Prince Harry, who you admire greatly, apparently.
I do.
You can't even look at us when you say that. You said it, you looked away.
No, I just know you love Hollywood, and when Susan Sarandon speaks, you listen.
Well, Susan Sarandon lives in New York, but she does do a lot of movies in Hollywood. She was, during the last election, she was such a supporter of Bernie Sanders, and she did not like how Hillary Clinton was treating Bernie Sanders. She did a very eye-opening interview with The Guardian where essentially she said, you know what, if she was president, It would be a dangerous situation.
This is what she said. I did think she was very, very dangerous. We would still be fracking. We would be at war if she were president. It wouldn't be much smoother. Look what happened under Obama that we didn't notice.
Right. So, President Trump, don't say to yourself, I need Susan Sarandon in my camp. I think she wants to go even more left than Hillary Clinton would have been. So she came out. It was this first story in Drudge most of the day.
That's right.
She said back in June, she said her foreign policy made her a greater national security risk. I guess she meant greater than Trump. But then when the reporter of The Guardian asked her about that, she said, not exactly, but I don't mind that quote.
Right. And just before the DNC last year, she came out and said, the DNC is completely corrupt.
Yeah,
and as it turns out, she was right.
They are.
And by none other than Donna Brazile basically says that in her book.
All right, it is 6:10 in New York City, and Jillian joins us with some news from across the pond.
That's right, breaking news, Brian's favorite story of the morning. Good morning. Let's start with this Fox News alert. Prince Harry is off the market after months of speculation. The royal family announcing Harry is engaged to Suits actress and American Meghan Markle. The wedding set to take place in the spring of 2018. The pair have been dating for 17 months. 33-year-old Prince Harry is fifth in line for the throne. A Fox News alert, a massive volcano on the brink of erupting. Indonesian officials raising the alert to the highest level, ordering the evacuation of 100,000 people from the popular tourist island of Bali. Rising ash from Mount Agung shutting down the airport and stranding 60,000 tourists. The volcano last erupted in 1963, killing more than 1,000 people. House Minority Leader Nancy Pelosi coming to John Conyers' defense. The California Democrat even putting Conyers on a pedestal, saying as he stepped down from the House Judiciary Committee over sexual misconduct allegations.
We are strengthened by due process. Just because someone is accused, and was it one accusation? Is it two? I think there has to be. John Conyers is an icon in our country. He has done a great deal to protect women.
The congressman who is under investigation by the Ethics Committee is accused of using taxpayer dollars to settle sexual misconduct lawsuits. Meantime, Conyers' Democratic colleague, Senator Al Franken, says he will be back at work this morning and will not resign over the allegations against him. Franken, who is accused of groping several women, calls himself a champion and ally of women. In just a few hours, we will get our first glimpse of the White House decorated for the holidays. First Lady Melania Trump welcoming children and students from Joint Base Andrews to see the nearly 20-foot Christmas tree, nativity scene, and a gingerbread replica of the White House. The Capitol Christmas tree also set to arrive later this morning. The 79-foot-tall Engelmann spruce left the Kootenai National Forest in Montana 2 weeks ago. Cool. I love seeing this stuff.
That's a big tree.
They're so big. It takes them such a long time to get there and get it all packed up and then unpacked.
Did any of y'all put your trees up this weekend?
Yeah.
No. It's in the hall.
It is?
Yeah.
I did it yesterday.
All right.
You did real tree?
2 of them.
Jillian, thank you.
This year I did not do the real tree.
Why?
Sorry, Mom. I know. Let us know what you think. This year, I just did not feel like dealing with all the pine needles. So I bought a bunch of those things that make it smell good, and I have a lot of candles that are the Fraser fir candles.
We have one of each, a live one and a fake one.
All right.
Live tree or fake tree? Tell me what you're doing this year.
The live trees are always better, but the fake tree is...
Are you taking the easy way out like Ainsley, or are you doing it like Steve?
I got it on sale at Home Depot, and it was already lit.
I love that.
Yeah, but what is that? You don't want to put any effort in.
That's okay.
I put a lot of effort in. I'll show you the pictures.
Okay.
All
right. Let us know about that. Meanwhile, a Fox News alert. We've got another one. 2 chilling new terror threats targeting trains and Christmas markets. Congressman Mike Gallagher served 2 tours in Iraq, and he is here to talk about keeping our homeland safe. Good morning, Mike. You're next.
All right, we got the Fox News alert now. You have new terror threats this holiday season. Yes, we're in the middle of it. Terrorists now calling for attacks on our rail system, and ISIS fanatics threatening to target Christmas markets. So what are we going to do to combat this ideology and keep Americans safe? Because, again, they telegraph it, and oftentimes they do it. Congressman Mike Gallagher served 2 terms in Iraq. He's a Marine and a commander of intelligence teams where you're on armed services as well as Homeland Security in the House. So, Congressman, you hear about the going after rails. These aren't hollow threats. They say say they're going to start using vehicle attacks. They started with Nice and haven't stopped. So what do you do?
Yeah, I think, well, that's an important point. When you saw in the months leading up to Nice, Berlin, at a crowded Christmas market, and even in New York, was ISIS advertising in its online magazine, Dabiq, with pictures of vehicles saying, mow down the infidels and the crusaders. So the first thing we have to do is take this threat very seriously. But I also think, so that magazine's name has since changed from Dabiq, which refers to a city in Syria, to Ramia, which refers to Rome. That itself illustrates the problem we face, which is to say, as we squeeze ISIS in Iraq and Syria, we're going to see it pop up in other places. We had an attack in Egypt last week. ISIS has an affiliate there.
As brutal as you can imagine.
Exactly.
300 plus dead, 27 children.
Exactly. But particularly, this is the largest mobilization of foreign fighters in human history. So as these foreign fighters return to their home countries in Western Europe, we're going to be dealing with this. And towards that end, I chair a task force on denying terrorist entry in the United States as part of the Homeland Security Committee. And we've looked at all the pathways through which terrorists could get into this country. But the most difficult thing to confront is the reality that terrorists cross our borders thousands of times every day digitally. Right. And that capacity to inspire an attack is a very difficult problem to get at.
And you know how much New York means to them. And you know how they reveled in the bike path killer.
Exactly.
And knowing that you have Penn Station, Grand Central Station, and New York City as a mecca, what does that make you feel? And how does the interaction between our counterterror unit in the New York City, the FBI, and Homeland Security?
Well, I think New York deserves a lot of credit, really developing NYPD and a lot of affiliated agencies developing a world-class counterterrorism
But
capability.
do they communicate well to the feds?
Well, I think there's always room for improvement. I think the most important thing for us to do in the short term is to stay on offense in the Middle East, because the longer we allow groups like ISIS to gain and maintain territory, the longer they grow in the hearts and minds of disaffected young Muslims around the world. So we cannot let off on that pressure. But at the same time, we need to take a hard look at our own capabilities, particularly our intelligence authorities, some of which are critical and about to expire, that we need to reauthorize in Congress, but also that cooperation between local law enforcement and federal law enforcement. But in every case, we have this narrative of a lone wolf attack. But what we've seen in all these cases is often it's not a lone wolf. These are people that were on the system and had popped up onto the radar for whatever reason, but they fell off because law enforcement didn't want to continue the investigation, or because people in the local Muslim community did not want to report their activity. So we need to have that trust between the local community and law enforcement, and that in many ways is the best line of defense. And I would just say, as a military guy, people every day thank me for my service, but the law enforcement folks are on the front lines every single day doing a dangerous job.
And a job in which they're under constant scrutiny for, but now they're asked to be on the tip of the spear, which is unbelievable. And you saw that in New York City last week, and we've seen it before. Congressman Mike Gallagher, glad you're on the job for us.
Thank you.
Instead of face paint, you're wearing a nice suit. Thanks so much for joining us.
Thank you.
Straight ahead, meet the Democrats' pick for a fresh face in 2020. He is 21-year-old Bernie Sanders. Is that really the right direction for the left? We'll debate it.
We have some quick headlines that are happening today. Roy Moore will make his final campaign appearance in nearly 2 weeks. The Alabama Senate candidate speaking at an event tonight amid calls for him to step down. Moore is accused of sexual misconduct with teenage girls. He has denied those allegations. And liberation set to resume today in Kate Steinle's murder trial. The jury went home for the holiday weekend without reaching a decision. They must decide whether Juan Francisco Lopez Sanchez, an illegal immigrant deported 5 times, intentionally fired a gun on a San Francisco pier in 2015, or if it accidentally went off. Steve?
Thanks, Ainsley. Democrats claim they're looking for fresh new faces for 2020, but a new survey of prominent Democrats shows their top pick is Bernie Sanders, followed by Joe Biden and Elizabeth Warren, rounding out the top 3. Is that really the right direction for the political left? Here for a fair and balanced debate, we've got Robin Pirro, former campaign regional field director for the Obama campaign, and Teslin Figaro, National Justice Director for the 2016 Bernie Sanders presidential campaign. She joins us from L.A. He's in Atlanta. Good morning to both of you.
Good morning.
Thank you so much. Robin, let's start with you. Bernie Sanders, top Democrat. Is he even a Democrat?
Steve, that's my question. I prefer to call him a Bernie-crat. He was an independent before he ran, and he said that he was going to stay on to the party and do fundraising and party building, and then he immediately switched back to being an independent, which I can respect because that was his 40-year history before that. But he really hasn't been doing the fundraising that he's pledged to do, other than for candidates that supported him in the primary. So, no, I do not think that he's a Democrat, but he is a good man.
Oh, Teslin, Robin prefers to call Bernie Sanders an independent who caucuses essentially with the Democrats, but really he's a socialist, isn't he?
Well, I would say that, but I also would like to remind Robin that that he's actually been on the campaign trail. Yes, of course, supporting people that support him. And what Hillary Clinton's been doing is been on a book tour supporting no one, including the people that supported her as well. You know, Dem insiders, I don't think they wanted to put Bernie Sanders on this list. Let's just be honest about it. But the American people have chosen him consistently as their favorite senator. And so they've put him on the list. How the other people made it on the list, you know, we see how that worked out last time.
Well, Teslin, you know, how old is he? He's in his late 70s. Shouldn't the Democrats be looking for a younger person to carry the torch?
Well, I'm always in favor of younger, fresh faces, not just there, but the average age in Congress for Democrats are in their 70s and 80s. So, you know, I think we could use some young faces across the board. You know, but those are Bernie Sanders is someone that the people have consistently trusted. You know, whether he's an independent, I'm an independent. I'm not a socialist, but because of his consistent message of that the system is rigged, which we see now has been proven by Donna Brazil's new book. You know, that's what the direction that the people are going in on the right and left.
Well, you're right about it being rigged, it sounds like. Robin, I want to read you a quote from Salon magazine, and it brings somebody else into the equation. It goes like this. Are you sick of Republicans or just right-wingers in general? Do you want to send a message to Washington that you aren't going to buy into their racist, sexist, xenophobic, homophobic, and classist nonsense for 1 second longer? Then do the very thing that Donald Trump unintentionally encouraged in a recent tweet. Encourage Hillary Clinton to run for president in 2020. So, Robin, is there a possibility? Would you support Hillary Clinton to lead up your party in a couple of years?
Steve, no, she does not need to run again. I'll make that emphatically clear. She's done. She is a retired grandma. I would like to remove her from the political equation. I think she should do fundraising and be with her family and guide future candidates. She has pledged to bring the message to future candidates to show the mistakes that she made so that they don't make those same mistakes going forward. I respect that. I think that's a good decision, but I think politically she's done.
Teslin, it sounds like she and her campaign rigged things against your candidate, Bernie Sanders. I would imagine she's the last person you would like to see at the top of the ticket next time.
Yeah, I would say more than sound like, you know, it certainly has been proven, you know, and so when we look at, you know, again, these Dem insiders, who are the people, the insiders, quote unquote, that are making these decisions on who actually gets to the list? I hope to not see more of the same, you know, next time around in 2020. And let's actually have some people come from the grassroots to run for president and see how that works out.
All right. Great conversation early on this Monday morning. Teslin and Robin, thank you very much for joining us from opposite sides of the country. Thank you. All right. Meanwhile, straight ahead on this Monday, President Trump promised to cut regulations while in the White House, and a new op-ed says that will be his legacy, and it will be a win for you. We're going to explain. Today, this Cyber Monday is expected to be a record breaker. Kurt, the cyber guy, is here with tips to get the best deals if you go shopping on your phone. There's the Doocy's. The kids all came home, and we had a big feast. Thanks as well to Peter for helping me get the big ladder so I could change
your sleeves rolled up there.
I could change the big light in the hall. That's the look. It's up there 20 feet, and we were down to one bulb. So Peter helped me get the big ladder. I went up and did that. We had a lovely Thanksgiving. Hope you did.
Well, that's in the house.
That's in the house.
It looks like that's like in the foyer. So if you fall, that's a long way to go.
My ladders are so full of spider webs and debris that if I brought it in the house, I'd still be back there.
That's why Peter was down below.
There's Hayden. This is Hayden, Thanksgiving weekend.
All alone on Thanksgiving? She had no family? What kind of
No, trust
parenting
me,
is
she had
this?
plenty of family.
Oh.
We can't get enough of that child.
All right.
And what's this?
That's a side shot of my bar. We made a turn this year. There's so many people that were there. Wow. That's at my brother's house. My brother's trying to draw more attention to himself. He stands and eats.
That is
during
so
dinner.
much fun.
Yeah.
Y'all have a ton of people.
And we have another, and that's my mom, Kirsten and Caitlin. They're posing together because they get along very well.
How cute. And that's your mom.
Yes.
Thank you, Mom.
Right. And
Does she watch every morning?
She's probably watching right now and screaming at me for putting a picture on television.
Well, that's okay. I wonder if she's watching right now screaming, Brian, you got to have a real tree. You can't have a fake tree, because earlier we said, what kind of a tree you're going to get, because Ainsley just got a fake tree from Home Depot. We have a fake tree and a real tree. We asked what you thought about the tree situation, and our email machine has once again.
I just feel I feel bad, like a bad person, like a bad mom to have a fake tree.
But you should.
Listen, at this stage in my life, it's about it's easy. Whatever's easy, right?
So, what did you think about it? Michelle emailed this. I like the umbrella tree. Just take it out of the box, plop it, open, voila.
Basically what it was.
It's done.
That's
Already
awesome.
comes decorated. No mess.
That's awesome.
Really?
Yeah, Michelle, I'm with you.
Okay, more shortcuts.
Kelly says, we've done a fake tree since our children are now grown. No more mess with pine needles, but I do miss the pine scent.
Get the candle.
But you miss the shopping for the tree and picking out the tree. And
it's a hassle.
And then cutting out the bottom of the tree so the dead tree can breathe.
Scott says, I've always had a real tree. It is a tradition. With all the fake stuff in the country, it is nice to have a real tree.
All right, I'm not going to read any until someone agrees with me that it has to be a real. Merry Christmas. I prefer a real tree. Thank you. I mean, that's the way Jesus wanted it. He wants you cutting down trees. Believe me, it's in the Bible.
Oh, that's a good tree.
Right. Well, that's this is. Wait, what is this? This from
Janice's tree?
No, Janet.
Oh, this is from Janet.
That's Janet's tree.
What if a tree could just hover and defy gravity? There was no joke on that. That was the tree for the invisible man.
Trademark it.
But so anyway, keep the email coming. We'd like to hear about it. Meanwhile, Janice
tweeted Team Ainsley.
Team Ainsley. Well, you can't put up a real tree right now, right? Because it's too long to be in your house for a month.
Water it every day, basically.
Oh, okay.
Take it down to December 26th.
I have a poll up on my Twitter. Real fur, F-I-R, fake fur, F-I-R. So you can go to the Twitter. Team Ainsley! Let's take a look at the temperatures. Really nice weekend, right? It's been beautiful here in the Northeast, and that really cold air remains up north in Canada, and it's going to remain that way for the next 7 days. So in some cases, 20 to 30 degrees above average for a lot of folks. Looking at the last 24 hours, a little bit of snow across New England and upstate New York. And there's our big storm system across the west. That's going to bring some rain and mountain snow across much of the region. But for the rest of the country, a really nice, quiet forecast. So if you're traveling today, not too much to tell you about. All right, so the trees are up, me and Ainsley. And you can go to my Twitter poll, fake, real fur. And I also have a picture up of the tree and my mom with Santa Claus.
Fantastic.
Yeah.
Santa Claus on Thanksgiving?
Well, you go and see Santa after Thanksgiving.
Right, he's at the
end
He's already
of the
there.
parade.
Oh yeah.
Oh, that's right.
Where
He's at
have
the
you
end of
been?
the parade.
He is.
Is he already visiting the malls?
Oh, yeah.
Yes, absolutely. I was trying to set him up with my mom, but
Santa.
No, he's married. Mrs. Claus.
I saw Mama kissing Santa Claus.
Hey, Jillian, how are you?
Right.
All right, JD. It is 22 minutes now before the top of the hour, and Jillian joins us. Speaking of things in the mall,
That's
this is
right.
This was a shocking story.
This was a shocking story. That's right. Holiday shoppers sent running for their lives when gunfire erupts at two crowded malls. In Texas, an alleged shoplifter shot by police after cops say he pulled out this realistic-looking BB gun. He's reportedly in critical condition. And north of New York City, a mall put on lockdown, after a man fired a shot into the floor. It's unclear whether or not it was intentional. No one was seriously hurt. Police still looking for that gunman. Family and friends gathering to say their final goodbyes to a Texas Border Patrol agent whose death remains a mystery. 36-year-old Rogelio Martinez laid to rest during a private funeral service in El Paso, Texas over the weekend. Martinez dying from traumatic injuries after responding to activity along the U.S.-Mexico border. The incident is being investigated as a potential assault. He leaves behind a fiancé and a young son. Every day on the football field, guys.
Shouldn't. Remember, Crabtree's mediocre. Remember?
And
that was the guy they had a little bit of a problem with before.
I was just going to say, Ainsley, I'm with you, by the way.
Oh, with the tree?
Yeah.
You're going to do a fake one this year?
Yeah, I did.
Thank you.
Ho, ho, ho.
I know. Kurt's shaking his head no. On that note, we'll bring in Kurt. Thank you, Jillian.
Right, someone's got to thin out the forest.
That's like giving your mom silk flowers. It's just mean.
I know.
It's fake.
I know. Listen, Hayden is 2. She doesn't know yet.
She's going to know. She's going to know.
Okay, I promise next year I'll do the. Well, I can't promise.
You know what
I'm going to try to do the real tree.
I'm getting her cable television so she can see what you're talking about.
Okay.
Meanwhile, as you can see right there, the big wall, today they are expecting to do $6.6 billion worth of Cyber Monday business, and Kurt joins us live.
Man, it is the day. In terms of this is the day that the internet really came alive and said, you know what? Black Friday may have been big, but Cyber Monday is going to be even bigger. But now it's sort of all blending together. And really, it's like Cyber Week now, Cyber Month, and Black Friday month. That's because the giant Amazon is really leading the way for retailers to now rise to the occasion and give us the kind of deals that we're looking for. I want to show you some winning apps. I mean, if you want to win at saving some money, here are some real great apps to do so. So the first one is called Flip. We have it up right now, and this is really great because you put in your zip code, and it's going to find all of the different circulars that are right in your neighborhood. So you'll be able to find out. It's
called Flip?
Flip.
This is Flip.
F-L-I-P.
F-L-I-P-P. 2 P's on it. Yeah, I have this online as well. And then Deal News app.
PP.
All right, so the top 300 deals of the day. Deal News. These are manually edited deals that so you have people that are actually studying this, and they keep their brain on this, and they really do great to share with us what's the great deal right now. And then finally, the other one, Slick Deals app. This is sort of new to me anyway. Slick Deals will hook you up in terms of finding out what deals are around you, but also it allows you to slide in what percentage off you want for that. So you could set, hey, I want a mixer from KitchenAid, and I'm looking for that from my mom, but I'm only going to buy it if it's 40% off or if it's below a certain price. It'll notify you. It's really great tools to let you know when to buy it on that one. And then sort of the do's and don'ts of the day. So the things that you're going to save on would be like TVs. You see those today, like Best Buy's ad came out. Really good deal. You've got smartphones, a perfect day to buy a smartphone. The last quarter of the year is when cell phone carriers really want your business because they want to report.
Even the 10?
No, you're not going to find a deal on that. I haven't. Doesn't mean it's not going to happen today, but I have not been able to find a deal for the 10.
And groceries?
But $150 off most phones. I've seen some as like $200 off. Cars, Ford has a great offer right now for cash back today, and many manufacturers do on that one. Now, the don'ts are also what to watch for, because it looks like it's a deal, but it's not.
Right.
So home furniture, not the time to buy. Toys and games are really less expensive in 2 weeks from now.
Oh, really?
Gift cards start getting less expensive about a week from now. And then home bedding, I don't know why, this just never makes the cut. It's always cheaper later in the middle part of next year.
And you say the best websites are Amazon, Best Buy, and Target.
Those are just some of the real classic ones to have a look at to see, okay, what are those deals? So Target's come out with theirs, Amazon and Best Buy. Best Buy, we were already talking how I found, you're thinking about a new TV.
Yeah.
And there's a sound bar on there that's half the price, and it's outstanding.
Unbelievable.
So $129 instead of $260.
I don't understand why all cyber, like this site, I want to buy some pajamas for my daughter. They are not doing a deal today.
What are they?
It's cyber.
So use the apps that I told you about, put it in there and see if the product does come up from that site.
Okay. You said that right off, Ainsley. He told you that right away. You should not.
I tried to put in the, well, they had a deal on Black Friday and I missed it, so I tried to put in that coupon
This could, just so you know, be punishment for buying a fake tree.
And once again, your website, if people have further questions?
Cyberguy.com or just search Cyberguy.
One more question. You said groceries or
you can actually. It's
I like
funny.
the deal, Ryan. I like the sale.
And really, they're great deals. So groceries are now like the new Cyber Monday thing.
Right.
So
because Amazon bought
Merry Christmas. Here's some discount extra large eggs.
Thank you.
Or fitted sheets or a car. That's what I got on this
brings
segment.
it home, doesn't he?
All right.
Thanks a lot. Appreciate it, Kurt. 17 minutes down before the top of the hour. 12 weeks into the NFL season, and the anthem protests continue. Actually, they're picking up steam. But one veteran who served our country for 10 years has a patriotic message for them. You're going to want to hear it.
Then President Trump is already slashing regulations, and our next guest says that will be his legacy and a huge win for you.